G'day divers and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you footage I captured with the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 and the AOI UWL-03 wide-angled lens. Now I wanted to get this video done to see whether or not the AOI wide-angled lens, which is exactly the same lens as the Backscatter Sharp Wide lens, they're the same lens, both made by AOI, the Backscatter ones just be rebranded for them. So just look for whichever one's cheaper where you are. The reason I want to do it was this is one of the biggest advantages GoPro's had over the years. It's had access to third-party lenses like this wide-angled lens. Well, that's changed in recent times. You can now get base plates that suit the Insta360 Ace Pro series and the DJI Action series. But the question was always going to be, does the lens work optically as well with those cameras? Now, I can't tell you for the DJI, I've had mixed reports and I haven't tried it. I may in the future, but I can tell you with the Ace Pro 2, it works fine. I have taken all this footage at 4K 60 with underwater mode on. I have done nothing in post except cut the images back and slow it by 50% because I always do that. I think it looks better. But I have not cropped the images. I haven't changed the white balance. I haven't added stabilization. I've done nothing. It is footage straight from the camera, just slowed down by 50% and cut into shorter shots. That is it. I want to show you exactly what comes out of the camera. So would I do some other bits and pieces and, you know, adjust the white balance and stuff a little bit here and there? Absolutely. But if I did that, that wouldn't be showing you what I'm getting out of this camera or what I'm getting from this lens. What it does show is this lens works fine. I don't pick up any of the lens in the image. It's nice and sharp to the edges. It's not causing any distortion. It is great because it means you get a sharper image, you get better color because you're getting closer to your subject, and it also allows you to focus closer. So one thing I found really nice with the Ace Pro 2 is your clarity zoom. It is something this camera has over the other cameras. While I'm filming, I can just hit the power button and bang, I get that clarity zoom. I get a 2x crop of the sensor, so it's still a really good image. It's not a digital zoom, and I can get nice and close, or twice as close as I could with the other action cameras. And it worked really good with the AOI lens, and especially because this lens allows the camera, both the GoPro and the Ace Pro 2, to focus probably a third of the distance that it does without the lens. So instead of being that 30 or 40 centimeters away from your subject, you're now 10 or 15 centimeters away from your subject. So even though this has increased my field of view by 30%, because I'm considerably closer, when I hit that clarity zoom, I can be much closer to my subject and get a much more of a macro shot. It means images are sharper and there's more color. I'd always recommend that you put a wide-angled lens on. Einon also makes some wide-angled lenses, but obviously I haven't tried them on this camera. All I can say is this lens works well. I will put a link in the description that'll take you to the AOI page to show you the model number for this and the back base plate for the Ace Pro 2. You can then Google it and buy it from your local shop because you could obviously be anywhere in the world. I would suggest you support whatever your local camera store is. So if you're in America, you can look at Backscatter, for example, and pick whichever lens is cheaper. You will find at the moment in mid-2025, due to tariffs, it will be cheaper to buy the Backscatter version than buy the AOI version. If you're outside of America, you're going to find most likely, certainly in Australia, that you can buy the AOI lens much cheaper than you can getting it from the US. It is a nice lens, value for money. It's about $200 US for one of these lenses, and then you need to get the QO2 mount. Like I said, their mount is specific to each brand and housing, so make sure you get the right one. I will link the one for the Ace Pro 2, and it's a nice bayonet style sort of attachment, which is much nicer than trying to use a threaded attachment, sitting there screwing things on and trying not to cross screw. It's very simple. It has a nice white mark. You just line it up at 90 degrees, turn it, it locks in place, and it's done. Then if you want to take it off, there's a little button on the side. You push it in, turn it 90 degrees, and it comes off. It's great. I highly recommend it. The only thing you need to know about having a wide angle lens on your action camera, it's not really useful above water. It's not impossible to use, but I wouldn't bother. And so generally when you're jumping in, if you want that shot of you jumping in or getting into the water, because it's a wet lens and the water's going to go behind it and it's going to get bubbles on it, I would take the lens off, get your shots getting in. Once you're underwater, make sure there's no bubbles on the inside or the outside of the wide-angled lens or on the housing, and click it in place. And really, unless you're then going to change to a macro lens, I actually personally would take at least 90 to 95% of all my shots underwater with this lens on. I would probably take 5 to 10% at best just with the housing. Obviously, if I've got a macro lens, I'll be using that. But I don't really see much point at all in ever taking a shot just with the underwater housing. This lens gives you a wider field of view, but because of that closer focusing distance, you can get much closer anyway, so you can still actually get narrower shots and wide angle shots, and everything's sharper. There is probably more difference, for example, to put this lens on an old camera. Say if I put this lens on a Hero 8, I'd say it would still get a sharper image than comparing it to a Hero 13. That's the difference. So I highly recommend getting a wide-angled lens for your action camera. I will be having more videos on the Ace Pro 2 and GoPros and mobile phones and using different wet lenses. If you're interested in seeing what I can get out of this camera with macro, I will soon have the adapter so I can attach a macro lens to this same QO2 system, and I'm pretty excited to see what I can do with the clarity zoom, because it really is a nice function being able to zoom in that 2 times just by using the sensor of the Ace Pro 2. If these sorts of topics interest you, if you want to know how you can use your action camera or mobile phone with economical aftermarket accessories, what sort of settings, techniques, etc. to use, then please like and subscribe to this channel. Until next time, don't forget to keep blowing bubbles, and never forget, the deeper you go, the further you get away from all those idiots.